pity the children of Eastern Congo, because over the last decade, they've known little but warfare, fear, and grinding poverty. The capital of their nation lies over 1,000 miles that way to the west, but their lives have been shaped much more by the nation in the hills behind me to the east, that is Rwanda. This place has been a playground for militiamen, warlords, and greedy neighbors. Is there any reason to believe that the future will be any better than the recent past? In Goma, Eastern Congo, a street preacher tells his audience that biblical apocalypse is coming. They need little convincing. Many of these people have lived through Africa's version of Armageddon. Their land boasts enormous riches, minerals which the rich world cannot live without. But these resources have been a curse, not a blessing, fueling a relentless cycle of conflict. Congo has known neither peace nor stability. Laurent Kabila, the rebel leader turned president, promised a new dawn after the darkness of the Mobutu dictatorship. It wasn't to be. For 15 years, the fallout from the genocide in neighboring Rwanda has fermented catastrophe in eastern Congo. Some of the Hutus behind the mass killing in Rwanda moved their bases across the border into Congo. Prompting Tutsi rebels backed by Rwanda and led by this man, Laurent Nkunda, to wage war on the Hutus and, as recently as last year, on the Congolese army as well. For the past 8 years, Laurent Kabila's son, Joseph, has been president of this fractured nation. His own army stands accused, along with the many rebel and militia groups in the east, of murder, rape, and torture. But earlier this year, there was a significant change. Congolese and Rwandan troops launched a joint operation to root out the Hutu militia, the FDLR. And Congo's Tutsi-led rebels agreed to integrate with the Congolese army. There is now a semblance of order in Goma. Kabila's government is trying to extend its authority. The UN mission MONUC, which for 9 years has been trying and failing to keep the peace in Congo, now makes optimistic noises about stabilization. The people of Eastern Congo would dearly love to believe that the current talk of integration, of bringing together the armed rebel groups with the Congolese National Army, will put an end to the years of violence. But the very fact that emergency camps like this one are still so full, and there are 20,000 and more people still living here, that fact suggests that the level of fear and mistrust of the men with guns is still extraordinarily high. International aid makes survival possible in Mugunga camp, but only just. Most of these refugees are Hutus. They've seen the Congolese army incorporate Tutsi rebels into its ranks, but they don't trust the talk of national reconciliation. Yusufu Mobili, a father of 6, is not ready to return home.
Exactement, l'hostilité est déjà finie, mais ce n'est pas totalement parce que au point de vue au point de vue autorités locales, ça continue les mêmes individus qui qui nous a fait fuir. Alors, tandis que nous, vraiment, nous sollicitons au gouvernement qu'on puisse donc changer ces gens-là et ramener encore les anciennes autorités qui étaient chez nous pour qu'ils les tournent. À ce moment-là, nous aurons vraiment confiance de notre milieu.
In Goma, the Congolese army remains a token presence. They're badly equipped and often unpaid. Nobody really knows who's in charge in this mineral-rich region. Right now, I'm heading off to what I hope will be a meeting with one of Eastern Congo's most important, most controversial politicians. His name is Bosco Ntaganda. Some call him the Terminator. He's a notorious warlord. He's currently wanted for war crimes by the International Criminal Court. Now, last year, his men were fighting fierce battles against the Congolese National Army. But earlier this year, he made a major about-turn. His men actually joined forces with that self-same army. They call it a process of national integration. The question is, will it work? And more particularly for me, will this deeply unpredictable man give me an interview? We headed to Bosco's compound with a promise that he would see us. He's no longer a rebel. He's a key link in the Congolese government's chain of command, we were told. He will welcome you. Well, we prepared the HARDtalk chair, and we waited. And waited. Bosco, the Tutsi warlord, the suspected war criminal, who also happens to be a linchpin of the Congolese government's integration strategy, never showed up. The elusive Bosco has always been a fighter, not a talker. Last year, his men were at war with the Kinshasa government. So how credible is this transformation from enemy to ally? I turned to Bosco's political associate, the president of the Tutsi-dominated CNDP. Desiree Kamanzi, welcome to HARDtalk.
Thank you.
I'm just asking you whether you're comfortable accepting the leadership of Bosco Ntaganda, a man known as the Terminator, a man who is wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes. And he, in essence, was and probably remains your real military leader.
He is not even the military leader of CNDP right now. He's a military leader in the government of DRC. So he's leading the troops right now. He's even leading, coordinating operations against FDLR. So he's no longer even the soldier of CNDP. We have declared all those issues long time ago, since the 16th of January.
But this man, whether he's technically still the military leader of CNDP, as you say, he's now playing a role in the national army and the national government. He's wanted for war crimes. Are you comfortable with that?
Listen, there is something that we can consider as a truth. For us, we know that he's not at all, he has not been engaged in those issues.
The only people who can decide whether there is truth in the allegations are the judges at the International Court. Are you prepared to see Ntaganda, the man who led the rebellion against Laurent Nkunda, being arrested and sent to The Hague to face trial?
Yeah, when necessary. Why not? He can go, and you can even ask him. He'll say he's not afraid, he's not scared of presenting himself in the front of the court. He's not afraid. But he's now busy working to recover that peace. I'm not saying he's going to respond today because of that kind of pressure. And I know he was not involved in those issues. The judges one day will say okay or not.
What we see now is that your movement is split. Looking at the figures that the UN has provided me, perhaps 4,000 CNDP fighters have joined the integration process with the Congolese army, but around 2,000 have refused to join, and they are still supporting Laurent Nkunda.
That's wrong, very wrong. I don't know where you get that information from, because you can move around and ask. There's no soldier who has not joined the government forces, FARDC troops. I can assure you, wherever you can be, no soldier, everyone has joined.
A UN official told me today that not only have there been significant numbers of your fighters who've refused to join the National Army, there are also fighters who did join who are now deserting. They are leaving the integrated National Army.
No, seriously, all our troops have now joined the government. If one case or two can desert, it can't be a generalizable problem.
Do you think the process of integrating all of the armed militias with the Congolese National Army can possibly work?
Yeah. We have that self-confidence, and we actually hope that it works that way. We are now in the process, and we believe that we have to start somewhere, because they used to accuse us to be in the front line of starting the war, and we were labeled as fighters, killers, which is not true. Now we have talked to the government, and we said, this is end of the war.
Why is it that your people in the CNDP are still putting up roadblocks and taxing trucks? Why is it that your people in the CNDP are still controlling mines and taking off the revenues for the use of your own party? If you're committed to integration and national stability, why are you still doing these things?
Okay. Number one, regarding mines, we are not involved in those issues.
I spoke to a mine owner who said CNDP people are still operating around his mine.
I wish I could
taking
see,
taxes,
I wish
screaming
I could see
off
that
money,
person.
putting resources into your party coffers from the resources of this country.
No, I'm the leader of the movement, and I know what is happening. We are not involved in those issues. Regarding the roadblocks, it is true. We have only about two. We have two. And we have negotiated with the government. We said, please, government, we still have some problems. As now we have started the process, please, as soon as we are involved fully in the participation or rebuilding the country together, in the politics, whatever, we have no problem to continue with those roadblocks. The governor here knows about it. The minister of international cooperation knows about it. It is not something that is illegal. Okay, there's no legal text.
It is illegal.
Yeah,
you know it's illegal. The truth is that your party, in this particular area of Eastern Congo, calls the shots because you have the support of the Rwandan government. The Congolese army and the Congolese government is very weak here. What we seem to be looking at is the rise of an idea of a greater Rwanda, where just over there, across the lake, Rwanda is effectively controlling what happens here in Goma and in North Kivu.
I think the problem is the people confuse us. Please stop to confuse interests of Rwanda and the citizens of CNDP who speak Kinyarwanda. Whenever they had the problems, Rwanda and Kinshasa, they used to have problems. Everybody knows about that. And we were suffering from those problems because there was a very big confusion of citizens of Rwanda and DRC. We share a border and everybody knows about it. But that does not mean that Rwanda is supporting CNDP. It's not the case.
Desiree Kamanzi, thank you very much for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you very much, you too.
Fly over the mines which produce vast quantities of cassiterite tin ore and coltan for mobile phones, and you see Eastern Congo's problem laid bare. As long as militias and warlords can cream off profits from the flow of minerals, they have a vested interest in prolonging this region's instability and chaos. The miners, some of them children, get paid a pittance. The money is made by the men with guns. Congolese army, Hutus, Tutsis, it doesn't matter. Each runs their own racket. The skies above Goma are rarely quiet for long. Small propeller planes are constantly ferrying minerals from the remote mines to Goma Airport for processing and export. As long as this unregulated trade continues in eastern Congo, it is hard to see how peace can prosper. Thousands of Congolese make a living from minerals. But as I saw in this processing yard, it remains a low-tech business. Much of this ore comes from the remote Walikale area. The big international mining corporations see huge potential profits to be made there, but for now the insecurity and chaos is keeping them out.
To what we call straight away an end user.
Which means that this man, minerals trader and processor John Canyoni, is a key player in the local economy. How useful is this?
It's very, very, very useful because it allows us to do what we call the pricing on the London Metal Exchange. And
thanks to wireless technology, he can trade directly on international markets from his Goma compound. In a good year, his turnover is $20 million. But at what price to his conscience and his people? John Canyoni, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you.
There's a very basic question here. Do you believe that what you do is a moral business?
Yes, we do. We do believe that it's a very moral business. Why? Compared to what it used to be like some few years ago, and which stage we have reached today.
But look at the facts. We have just got a new report issued jointly by the UK's Ministry for Development, DFID, and the London School of Economics. An expert report. And it shows that, for example, 75% of the money is coming into the Hutu militia, the Interahamwe as was militia, known as the FDLR, is coming direct from minerals mining.
We're not saying that there was no involvement of those armed groups in the business. There used to be their involvement.
But that's where you get your minerals from.
It's quite different. Some are most probably from those areas.
I'm pretty amazed by what you're acknowledging, that right now and in the past, you, and it has to be said you are a Tutsi whose family has suffered at the hands.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. And how come then you are prepared to take minerals and make profits from materials which in the end are being used to fund Hutu militant fighters?
How can you think that us as a Tutsi, as a minority who have suffered because of the FDLR, we can be the one who are providing funds to those former genocidaires?
Because you want to make a profit.
No. It's not that. If you go to Walikale, you see that the impact of FDLR in mining is not so big compared to the normal artisanal miners who are in the business. We are more suffering because of lack of authority of our own government of DRC in those areas. We've been discussing with officials to see how we can help them, maybe through all the formalization of the sector from the mine to the comptoir, to see how those who are involved in the business, they're supposed to be only those who are not involved in armed group.
But wouldn't it help to ensure that the changes come?
Yes.
Wouldn't it help if you, in your business, refused to deal with ore, with mineral products that you know come from mines which are run by gunmen?
There's two options. We can stop the business. Let us assume that we do stop the business. We'll be helping really to say, okay, there's no more any problem of abuse of human rights. That's the fact. What is more important is to see how we can help our own government, first of all, to establish its own authority there. And as you know, last month there was a kind of regional initiatives from the leadership of Rwanda and Congo, which have decided to go to Walikale and to take out all of these FDLR. That's a very big move, by the way.
But hang on a minute. Your main source of trading cassiterite for your own business comes from the huge Bizier mine.
No, not only that. In general, in Goma here, we can say that 70% of the material we are getting, it's from Walikale. In Walikale, we have Bizier.
The biggest mine is Bizier.
Bizier, yes.
And let's talk about Bizier. For years, it's been controlled by the so-called 85th Brigade.
Brigade, yes.
I've been reading the reports which routinely talk about rape, about harassment, about violence and intimidation carried out by the 85th Brigade in their pursuit of control of Bizier mine. And that is the Congolese army we're talking about.
For us, there's no difference between the FDLR and the 85th Brigade. As long as that they are part of the business is there's less moral in the business.
But you've been taking their materials and paying them money.
No. Listen. We do know very well that they are there. But I'm explaining to you that the impact of the 85th Brigade and the impact of the FDLR compared to the statistic of what we are getting from BC, it's quite not significant. It's almost less than 30%. But we do believe, and we're even giving some proposal about that the more BCA is formalized, the more artisanal miners are working officially there, it will be helping to bring it more ethic and more transparency in the fields.
When you talk of change and regulating the industry in a new way, is it because you feel an enormous weight of pressure building up? For example, if one looks at the group of experts report that was written for the UN Security Council late last year, it says that, and I'm looking at the report, all mineral buyers are in one way or another violating UN arms embargoes because they are providing money for the militias, and as such, they too should be punished.
Our approach is quite different. What is more important? It's only the UN embargo about the arms in the region, or is to think about thousands of people who are relying, who are depending on this business? We do think that is a way. That's why we're proposing that us, as traders, the NGOs, the UN panel, some government, we have wrote, by the way, letter to all of them. We have wrote to Global Witness, we have wrote to UN panel, we have wrote letter to several others NGOs. We would like to sit all of us together and to see how we can set up kind of what we call mechanism of due diligence, which will be helping to get a kind of traceability of the ores from the mine up to the comptoir, even up to the end user.
John Kanyoni, thank you very much for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for BBC coming to visit us as well. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. In my first days in Eastern Congo, I was overwhelmed by the scale of human suffering.
That one's Maison à Louer.
Yes.
By the time I left, I was shocked by the wealth. In Goma, they have no paved roads, but there are plenty of people with enough cash to build luxurious villas with maximum security. And here is Congo's problem. 15 years of unparalleled human misery for the many has yielded power and profit for a very few. The status quo, however appalling, will be hard to undo.